Hello, everybody. This is Ghost Green 1290, and I am joined by my two faithful companions,
Wingman
and Joe Huggies.
And welcome to
name.
What?
Hate that name.
Of course you do.
And welcome to a brand new segment we would like to personally call Adaptation Impossible. And basically, what we do is that we take a look at certain adaptations of certain films, we rank them, and give our honest opinion on it.
Yep.
Now, none of these are for any form of bias. None of these are like going off of what critics are saying.
None of these are sponsored.
None of these are sponsored, but like most of these are just based on general opinions on movies we've just recently watched.
And we wanted to do this for fun, so...
Yes.
So welcome to the inaugural episode
Of Adaptation Impossible, and today we're going to be talking about a movie that is torn apart every now and then by Twitter every month.
Yeah, every so often people just decide to dig it out of the grave and beat it.
It's the one movie that has the love-hate relationship in the entire fan base and is considered the horrible remake of remakes, this being Power Rangers 2017. The first great blockbuster of the year, says the Nocturnal.
And I've always read it as Power Lightning Bolt Rangers.
And by Saban Bright. Okay, so let's just go into like...
Should we explain the system?
Yeah.
System.
Well, yeah, I think we should probably explain the system first, so...
Okay,
Yeah,
I created the system, so I'll take it away. We score out of 25 points, and it'll be 5 points for originality, 5 points for faithfulness to the original, 5 points for characters, 5 for plot, and 5 for visuals.
So basically, it's a solid 25, and then when we're done with our personal ranking, we give it, like, a grade, basically.
Mm-hmm. And just to make sure, we also can give like numbers 1 through 5 as far as those 5 points go.
Yes, but we'll have to agree on it.
Yeah, we have.
Alright.
Let's also go into like a little bit of history with like the branding, because everybody knows that my channel is based off of the source material that made Power Rangers at this point. But like, what about you guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, well, like I said, my channel is mostly just based on the source material and everything else Tokusatsu related. But what about you guys?
Oh, my channel's just whatever junk I throw on it. I
am the anonymous man.
I have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Burger King foot lettuce meme on there. That's quality content.
I'm probably gonna edit that. I'm probably gonna edit that in actually real fast. Yeah, future me, put the video in. Anyway.
Number 39, Utopia. 2 level 4 monsters. When a monster declares an attack, you can detach 1 material from this card. Negate the attack. If this card is targeted for an attack while it has no material, destroy this card.
Getting back on track though, like, what were our first like impressions though when we found out this movie was going to be made?
I was very active in the Toku community, and people were not a big fan of this when it was first shown, and I can't blame them because the designs looked like they were going to be what Michael Bay did to Transformers. So people kind of expected that the movie was going to follow. I will say, when I went and saw it for the first time, that is not what happened. I liked it.
Right.
But people were not too jazzed about the initial look of it, as I recall.
And as for my personal end of it, I wasn't in tune with the show afterwards because Super Mega Force kind of killed my love for the franchise. But
I did a lot of things in that show.
But like, yeah, but here's the thing though. Back in like 2012, they announced that they were going to be remaking the film, making like a remake and everything like that. And they like said it was going to be releasing around the same time as TMNT. And I remember seeing a movie with my family once back in like 2013. And I saw a poster for the movie coming out for Ninja Turtles, and I was talking with my dad saying, now all I need to do is just wait for Power Rangers to come out, and then I'll be fine. I mean, I don't want to see the Turtles movie, but I want to see that.
Yeah.
And mind you, this came out in 2017, so yeah, I was waiting since 2014 for this movie to come out. So I waited 3 years, and personally, I was satisfied with what I came up with. All right, so let's just talk about like the basic like premise of the original film, because like there was a lot of like different concepts and such. And one thing that I do want to mention is the infamous Power / Rangers fan film that was released at some point before this movie was even out in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was Power Rangers, but like more adult, and it was like post-apocalyptic at the same time.
They had guns, I think.
And Rocky was apparently a spy for the Machine Empire.
Good God.
What was this, Batman v Superman?
It might as well be. It was
Yeah,
about
might
as
well
boring.
been, because Tommy was considered the Batman.
I'll
apparently.
probably want to see
Tommy's
that.
already considered Batman. Let's be real with
Yeah,
ourselves.
let's be real. But at any rate, basic plot of the 2017 movie. Basically, Cenozoic era, everybody gets destroyed, and Zordon dies bearing the power coins. So that pretty much gives us a basic idea of what it is from this show. Basically, and then like at the beginning of the movie, for like the first 5 minutes or so, we're introduced to Jason and Billy and all the other characters.
Jason's doing some stupid stuff.
Yeah, and he ridicules himself for it later, but like I just think that like a lot of people gave this movie a lot of bad rep for it because of what happened in the first few minutes of the movie with Jason. I personally can't fault it because I mean it's PG-13, so.
What I said when we were watching it was, it may have started with a dick joke, but at least it was a funny dick joke.
Yeah, that's literally it. I mean, I laughed at that. I mean,
I'll be honest, I didn't even notice the joke, but as far as Jason goes,
Jason wasn't really that bad. I mean, to be fair,
kind of-
I think he did more than what the TV show Jason really did.
He kind of underwent a 180, where like, first he's doing all this bad stuff, but then, it turns out he's this great guy. I don't know. I found that a little weird, but that doesn't change the fact that I still came to like him.
Most people put on a persona when it comes to high school, so I mean, I think he's just trying to keep the top football player thing up for everybody else to see when he didn't want to reveal his true self. Really,
I'll be honest, I kind of feel like it's more so a thing where he's suddenly like. He kind of wanted to be more than just like the perfect football player. And
Yeah.
that was the vibe I got, and that was kind of fun to watch. Just as like he was kind of slowly learning what he really wanted to do and how good of a person he realized he was. So.
yeah, and he basically like avoided expectation when it came to his
Yes,
father.
exactly. And
Because his father was a fisherman, and he wanted to like move out of the crappy town for all.
yeah, I'm sure everybody does.
Like they even say how much of a bad town it is, but there
Yeah.
was a couple of references to other seasons like Reefside and Mariner Bay, so
Nice.
Much appreciated.
much appreciated. But yeah, what do we think about the other characters though? Like,
Billy's my favorite. As
Yeah,
is
Billy-
most
Billy-
people.
Billy is pretty
yeah,
good.
Billy was like one of the main reasons people liked this movie so much because it was the first Spectrum like Ranger.
And they did, in my opinion, a damn good job portraying it.
Was
Yeah,
it the
they did.
first time they did this?
Yeah, I think it was.
There's never been another Ranger that's on the spectrum
Interesting.
before.
I mean, I think it was assumed that Bridge was on there, but
It's assumed but not said,
Yeah,
so
it's
we
assumed
can't
but
really
not
count
really
it
said.
officially. So Billy's the first one to be openly on the spectrum, I suppose.
yeah, he openly like admits it when he meets up with Jason again.
Yeah,
However,
they outright
it's
state
nice that the two that probably were on it are both fan favorite characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. I
Uh,
also think this is a good time to bring up the fact that some people weren't a big fan of the fact that Billy was autistic and Trini was bisexual, but I think that they handled it very well.
I thought. Well, here's the thing. Most people didn't catch on that she was bisexual. They mostly caught on to the fact that she was probably a lesbian.
Yeah, the vibes were kind
Well, no.
Yeah, the
she-
vibe was really there because she said that they wanted her to be labeled and for her to dress properly instead of wanting her to
Well,
dress
yeah,
by
but
herself.
she was bisexual. She said boyfriend troubles and girlfriend troubles.
Well, yeah.
Well, wasn't that like proposed by Zeke because he was kind of just wondering?
Well, yeah,
like, out
Zach
of
sort of said
curiosity?
girlfriend troubles because like here's the thing, she was mostly a loner and she like
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
If she is bisexual,
she
whatever,
replied
but-
affirmatively to both.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
A lot of people said that was like the main drag for it, but me personally, I think this is as bad as Power Rangers as it's gonna get. Power Rangers, because in the show, and I'm talking like the original TV show because this is what it's based on, we don't really get to see the teenagers' lives that much. I mean, in the original show, I had quite a few problems with how they were handling filler. Because we got these arcs where Trini met her original sensei, Kimberly was going through a divorce, so on and so forth. The show never picks up these plot lines ever again until like the next season finale, and I'm like, what is happening to these characters? Because the second we see them again, like in the next episode, they're like happy-go-lucky again. And I'm like trying to understand where are the complaints coming from this movie, because a lot of people are saying that they're too edgy or whatever, and I'm like, where's the edgelord in all of this? Because Zach is probably one of the representations of a character.
Could you imagine if they made Tommy an edgelord?
He is an edgelord.
Sometimes.
No, he's a straight up edgelord now.
Well, I mean, like if they ever somehow do a sequel and we get Tommy as like an edgelord, that would be interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's skipping detention, so I kind
Yeah.
of assume he'd be an edgelord.
Yeah. But I mean, like, back on track, though, with what I was saying. I think Zach was probably one of my favorite characters from this movie
I
because...
love Zach.
He was
Yeah.
charismatic,
Yeah.
very.
Like, here's the thing. He was, like, being all jokes worth and all that, but he, honestly, like, he keeps that as, like, a fake face to, like, hide the fact that his mom might one day go away, and he wants to be a loner most of the time because he doesn't know what to do with himself if he ends up being alone.
Yeah,
So-
it's one of those fears where like any kid who's like slowly growing up eventually is gonna have to worry about it eventually, and that was actually kind of nice to see.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't pull the, like, his mother dies mid-film card, because I'm a little
Yeah, that would have
tired
been
of
bad.
seeing
That would
it.
have been bad.
I feel like the film wouldn't have had time to do something like that, so I'm glad it's just as effective if they leave us with the thought that, she's going to soon. They probably would have done it in the sequel, admittedly, but
I think
regardless.
this movie also put Ludi Lin on the map eventually, kind of, because he was in Aquaman and recently the newest Mortal Kombat movie, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was not a small movie.
No,
this
it was.
was-
Yeah, surprisingly, this movie didn't really get that much at the box office because apparently most people said that it was a sin on the franchise. And like we mentioned when we started, Twitter likes to tear this movie apart, saying it's a good movie, and then they want to say it's a bad movie, and then they want to say it's a okay movie, but then they want to go back and say it's bad.
Always maintain this is a good movie.
Like every day when I look at Toku Twitter, it seems like every certain point of the month they want to tear this movie apart for like what it's worth.
And we should probably speed it up.
Actually, we still haven't covered Kimberly yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
All right.
Honestly, out of all the characters that quote unquote people hate, I mean, Kimberly I can sort of understand why, because
She's just kind of there.
she was kind of there, and like we didn't know much about her story until like at the the hour and a half mark.
And even then, it kind of gets glazed over.
Yeah, it was really glossed over after that because she said that she caused something that destroyed somebody's life, and then she says that she doesn't know how to like forgive herself for it.
I'll admit, it was sort of quick how that all happened, but in
Yeah.
a way, I'm kind of glad there was that whole sort of redemption thing with that, because not everyone is gonna be like totally a bad person all the time.
Yeah.
It's only just you did something terrible, and thus you should try to forgive yourself over it and try to be better.
Yeah,
Like,
that quote I live by like daily ever since I first saw this
yeah,
movie.
and
so.
I just think that was actually just.
I think
It was a night trait.
I think
It
like
was-
one
it
thing
was
that they should have done after that is that after when everyone was getting back into school or something like that, I feel like Kimberly should have like formally like apologized and said if you don't
That
forgive me.
would have actually been
Yeah.
really satisfying.
Yeah, like if she said if you don't forgive me, that's fine. I just wanted to say that how sorry I truly am for what
Yeah.
I've done, and then move on with her life. That would have made the movie a lot stronger instead of just laughing, saying that's what you get for somebody wrecking their car.
Yeah, that's just
Like,
someone being petty.
Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
only
that-
one of their family conflicts gets resolved, and of course it's Jason's.
No, not really.
Well, no,
Jason's
it's-
conflict didn't get
It-
resolved.
Yeah.
Not resolved, but even touched on a little bit.
I mean, one thing that I would like to say, like visually though, this movie does like work though.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to
Yeah.
visuals.
Yeah, let's just move on to the next category though.
Well, I suppose
Can I
we're-
at least just mention one more thing real quick?
yeah.
Personally, I wasn't too much of a fan of the Yellow Ranger based on her actions in the first moments of the film.
Yeah.
And eventually she turned out alright for me, but I kind of would have liked it if she got better development. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, she didn't do very much.
I mean, I was looking over the deleted scenes, and most of them like gave a little bit more into their character arcs,
Oh,
a little
really?
bit,
Wow.
but like at the same time, like if they were brought, like if they were kept in the movie, like if there was a director's cut, I feel like nothing would really change for most of these characters. Most of the time.
Okay.
Alright.
So, what are we giving characters out of 5?
Honestly, I would have to give it like a 3.5 out of 5 because like some of them are great, like Billy and Zach, but like
Yeah.
others are hit and miss, like Jason and Trini. I mean, not Jason and Trini.
As
Jason
much
and
as I
Kimberly.
do really like the characters that got fleshed out, I don't think we can go higher than 3.5 because the ones who don't get fleshed out, just in this category, really drag it down.
Yeah, I think at this point, the only reason we give it a 0.5 is because of Billy.
I mean, like, to be fair, like, Trini does sort of, like, give into, like, because another thing is that when they were bonding at the campfire, she said, yes, but even if we do tell each other all our secrets, do we really know each other in the end, or are we just rangers? And
Yeah, it's kind of one of those lines that's kind of off-putting.
I mean, like, I can't really say Trini was the worst character in this film, because that line does stick with the rest of the movie, and it fits the tone nicely. Yeah. But yeah, I just think personally, Kimberly is not the one. Isn't the one that gets the most growth until like much later in.
Yeah.
I am glad though that they didn't just make Trini and Billy the bisexual and autistic ones. It was part of the character, but it didn't define the whole thing.
And and Zach's like the typical jokester, but hides his true.
I'm just glad they didn't like. If they were throwing it in their face Disney style, that'd get old real fast. But they didn't. They kept it subtle, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, so we can agree?
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah,
all right.
We can agree with that.
So what's next?
What's next, Ben?
We can kind of just go whatever.
All right,
this is the first time we're doing this.
All right, well, then let's go with visuals then.
All right, visuals I have to also rate a little lower because the designs for stuff are not that great.
Are you saying that just because the Zords are...
No, the Zords and the Ranger suits. Like, I kind of like the Ranger suits, but also they're really, like... I hesitate to say alien looking because they're supposed to be, but also it's just uncanny. It's in the uncanny valley for me.
I mean, to be fair, like, and this is something, like, after this movie was, like, released and everything, like, when they released Battle for the Grid, the console game of Legacy Wars, they didn't even want to mention that these Rangers were the 2017 movie Rangers. They, they added the Blue Ranger in, but they said he was the Cenozoic era Blue Ranger, and that, like, raises more questions about that. Because, like, yes, they were technically
they're
from
not
this...
wrong.
I mean, yeah, they're not wrong, but, like, I just don't like how they would, like, completely just remove the 2017 movie from the continuity of it all. Mm-hmm. And the worst part is that the game's logo is the same logo as what's on the DVD case.
Well, I think I remember that they just kind of rebranded the logo to look like that at that point.
I guess.
Well, no, this is the only time that they ever use this logo.
Are you sure?
For this Legacy Wars and Battle for the Grid.
Oh, all right.
I really got to get that game sometime.
They just came out with the collector's edition with Street Fighter. It's not, they don't play good.
Yeah. I would like to provide some info about visuals though. So weird thing for me was that now, if there's one thing I really do appreciate in Power Rangers is the camera shots that each of the Ranger shows do, because you get to see a great display of fighting techniques, like just in display all the time.
Yeah, like
oh yeah, they love showing off their fighting techniques.
Yeah.
A little too much, I might say.
I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed in how they portrayed some of the fighting scenes with the Rangers, especially with the Zords, because some of them just were a little bit too out there, and there was way too much like focus on like sort of, I guess, the destruction of some of the minions or like whatever was happening to
the buddies.
Them being
I mean, hey, of course you gotta have your like ground scale battle first.
Yeah, like the ground scale battles. I mean, that's sort of a standard in PR. Well, yeah, but like.
But in some of the Zord fights, it was kind of hard to see what was going on.
Yeah.
I joked about Michael Bay designs earlier, but it really kind of did suffer from that, where everything just looks so samey that it's hard to tell which Zord is fighting what. I couldn't even tell the Zords apart from Goldar sometimes.
I think it's because, like, the blue and black Zords, they have a very similar body. Even the toys even say this, but I think... Probably, like, visually, I think the Saber-Tooth Tiger Zord is one of my favorites because of just how much it looks.
I actually like the Pink Rangers.
The Fly Zord?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Although, I said this earlier while we were watching it. Fun fact, on the actual, like, movie suits, the only thing that's CG is, like, the glowing bits on the costumes. Everything else is practical.
I did see that they were practical suits, and I like the look of them as practical suits.
Yeah, it's like the same thing they did with the Spider-Man suits in Avengers. Like, they have, like, the standard, like, costumes, but then they have these, like, little patches on them that, like, put in, like, hey, if we want to put, like, CG here or here, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
But, yeah, I think one of the major drawbacks was the overabundance of CGI in some shots. Like the big fight
it's an
scene in the
unfortunate
quarry with the
thing with
ranger.
CGI.
Yeah, like with the big
Yeah,
fight scene
it
in
kind
the
of becomes a CGI mess.
I mean, with the big fight scene in the quarry with the Rangers, it's all CGI, quote unquote. Like, you can't tell which one is, like, the live action parts and which one's the CGI parts because it moves a little too fast, in my opinion. But I think I can probably give this a solid 3 in visuals. What about you guys?
I'd say 2.
I'm actually on the range of 2.5 because I'll admit
Okay.
I actually kind of dig the ranger suits as they are
Yeah.
because not only are they somewhat iconic, but they also give a new flair to it just to add some personality.
Even the Green Ranger suit that they used, even though it was only on screen for like 5 minutes, it was a very really
Yeah, it
decent
was nice.
suit.
I can get behind 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5.
So we're currently standing at 6 out of 10. Hopefully the other 3 categories will pull it up a bit.
All right.
Yeah, 6 out of 10, hopefully. Okay, so let's go with like originality for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since this is technically an adaptation of a show that's since been around for like almost 30 years at this point, originality isn't really there anymore because this is based on Sentai stock footage.
Well, no, this isn't.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like there's not really much originality
I
to do
think
with the franchise called
if-
Power Rangers.
If you're going to do originality, this is the place you'd find it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, this is about as Power Rangers as it's gonna get
I mean,
with all the teenager drama.
Technically speaking, even though they're based on Sentai stuff, the suits, the Zords, they're all original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will give some props to the fact that they gave original designs for the suits and Zords.
Yeah.
I can give them that. There were some creative liberties taken with the command center and Zordon's backstory that I can also give them credit for.
Yeah, I was
Like-
actually kind of more intrigued by Zordon in this movie.
Rita being the Green Ranger, that's a big originality point. I'm gonna give that to them.
I mean, with
Yeah,
fan films,
I agree.
with certain fan films, like we had, Rita was a princess of a dragon empire, and that's why she had the dragon power coin, or like, Rita was considered the dragon warrior, and that's why she has like the power coin, because Ninjor wanted her to be a dragon-themed warrior, but she turned evil.
Is Rita secretly the dragon warrior from Kung Fu Panda? I'm sorry, it's obvious bad joke. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, to be fair, I mean, Furious 5 and the Power Rangers would sound like a pretty good crossover. Furious 5 and the Power Rangers sound like a pretty good crossover, actually.
Holy crap, that's so genius.
I mean, to be fair, we already had Jungle Fury, which had a red tiger ranger.
Wow. Yeah,
Like, him versus Tigress and everything, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
But, yeah, getting back on track, though.
yes, yeah.
So I feel like originality, I don't know. I feel like-
Originality is kind of one of those points we actually touched on a bit, like, at first, and...
Yeah, like, we kind of touched on it in the beginning, but I think, like, originality points-wise, I think we could probably give it, like, a 4 or something.
I'm good with.
I'm actually more leaning towards 3.5 again, only because, like, it did some stuff that was impressive.
Yeah.
But it also did some things that were pretty obvious, and I don't know if we can get into this with originality, but I also felt like the music was not so great. There was only one song I really enjoyed from this movie.
Which was what?
Conway.
West.
Conway?
I'm
West?
my English is bad today. I'm sorry.
Kanye West is power. This wasn't even on the initial soundtrack. Like this
Really?
was a single that was released before the movie was even recorded.
Actually, yeah, you're right. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was like the only good bit of music I heard from this movie, and
Okay.
it was not that great.
If
I
we're
mean,
going
when the
with
original-
music,
I mean, like with the original like movie theme song from the 1995
Yeah, you
Oh
beat me to
right, I forgot about that.
yeah,
that changed
putting
my
that
point.
in was an inspired choice.
Like, here's the thing. When I was sitting
I
in the
gotta listen
theater
to it
and I saw the
sometime.
Zords being launched, I was like, oh, okay, they're probably going to do, like, something with stock footage. And then I heard the theme song going on, like, I screamed a little bit in my seat. And,
yeah, I did too. When I was
The funny
seeing
thing is,
it.
though, is that there was, like, only 2 other people in the theater, and, like, none of them decided to look behind them to seeing a 16-year-old just screaming.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
why don't
none of
we
them
have
cared.
music as like extra credit points?
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause music's not the most important aspect of the film, but I
Yeah.
feel like some good music can bring it up a bit.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, I think, like, music and originality-wise, I think we could probably give it, like, a 3.5 if we're lucky.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
I'm good with
3.5
3.5.
and maybe like 2 extra points for music.
So that's 11.5 right now.
11.5 out of 15. We're getting up there, lads.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have like 2 more categories
categories.
left. So
All right.
that's plot and what else?
And So it was plot, characters, visuals, faithfulness, originality.
You just listed off.
Oh, faithfulness.
Faithfulness.
Okay.
So faithfulness to like the original series, like yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, the original theme song, James David Frank, Amy John Johnson.
Yeah.
I think in terms of faithfulness, I could give this like a solid 4.5.
Well, I mean, also when this movie released in Japan, both Tyranno Ranger and Shishi Red showed up to the premiere. Even Shishi Red showed up in his actual like costume, like his civilian outfit.
Huh. That's great.
Yeah, my friend Movie Critic, I don't know if you're watching this, but like he did actually show a picture for his Power Rangers fan trivia tournament. So, yeah. The guy who played Geki, though, and Zhu Ranger only showed up in a nice suit, but...
Okay.
Like, it would have been funny if they named this movie Zhu Ranger in Japan, but, like, again, this is its own thing.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is clearly Power Rangers. Besides, they have Power Rangers in Japan. They love it.
Yeah, but, like, it's only certain seasons.
Only certain seasons, but like they are aware of Power Rangers.
Yeah,
over
they're
there.
aware of its existence. Akiba Ranger, for example. With originality, we could give this a solid 5, right?
I'd give it maybe
4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
So that's
All
12.
right. But that's
We're
gonna
really
bring our
reaching
score
numbers
up.
here.
Okay, that's 16 out of 20 so far.
Okay, so what's next?
The last one is plot. How do we feel about the plot?
I mean,
What is...
for a 2-hour movie, I feel like this movie could have been cut down at least 30 minutes.
And they could have given us some
Yeah.
more fight scenes. That's
Like,
what.
I
That's
mean,
what
last,
really.
the
to be
last
fair-
fight scene for me was the worst.
What drags it down for me is that it's the Power Rangers movie, and we don't see the Power Rangers until like the last quarter.
To be fair,
That's
like
everybody's
here's the
bad
thing.
issue
Like
with
here's
this
the thing.
movie.
To be fair, a lot of people said that this doesn't have any action in it, and I feel like the action at the near end of the movie, I feel like that was well deserved because it actually, like I mentioned, it gives us a little bit more backstory into the teenagers.
Yeah, of course.
But again, it's a 2-hour film. If they would have cut the runtime by 30 minutes and give us a little bit more action in between, then maybe I would say that this was one of the best movies out of 2017.
Heck,
Though-
there could have been a possibility where, like, they could have cut down the training time for them to, like, get the Rangers.
Probably.
I mean, the Morphers didn't even exist.
They
Yeah.
did make toys for it though.
Yeah, they made a toy for it, but that was essentially
Yeah.
the Kuga, the Legend Rider Kuga thing. Like it's literally,
It was more like the Agito one.
no, it was like a pull handle thing. You know,
Yeah,
like
but
little.
I'm pretty sure
spokes.
Agito had that too.
Agito, Ichigo, Kuga. They were making those. by
Yeah.
the way.
Interesting.
My friend had the toy morpher. It stopped working like very soon.
I mean, I will give it this. Like the marketing for the movie was great. I mean, the role play.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, the marketing for the movie was great. In the toy department, though, didn't survive.
Yeah, the
like,
toys
at all.
weren't great, but that's also, they had kind of been dealt a bad hand with the Megazord.
And the
that
weapons
thing-
themselves, because
the-
you know the power sword.
Yeah, they
I saw
they
it
made
at-
it in all 5 colors.
Yeah, in all 5 colors. I saw that at a Target once. All 5 of the colors were right there, and I'm like, wow, were they really this desperate? Like, commercially, this movie got a lot of publicity and with the product placements and everything, but I think at the box office, it failed miserably.
I just feel bad for the people who had to design the Megazord. That model was not made
Like
with
the official giant
idea of,
12-inch action figure, like that sold, but like the individual battle swords, you can get those for like $5 on eBay probably.
Yeah, it was not designed with 5 things joined together in mind. It was just, let's make this giant robot, and then let's put these parts of the 5 things on it.
I was legit getting Pacific Rim vibes, and that's not a vibe I want to have in a
Fan
Power
trailers
Rangers
even showed Pacific Rim footage.
movie. Yikes.
Yeah.
But I don't want I don't want the lack of Ranger action to drag it down too much, because I will say, for all the in-between scenes, you'd miss them if they weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
And then we'd be complaining about something different.
Yep.
So what do you say we just call it 2.5?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to rank it at a 3 solid, but yeah, 2.5 seems... But, like, a 3 sounds a little too generous. in my
Yeah, I think it's
opinion.
2.5. So that brings us to our final score
And that is?
of 18.5 out of 25.
So this is technically... This is the first episode of the series. This is technically the first movie to be closest to a 20.
Technically,
Yeah,
but,
close to it.
it doesn't have much or any competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially some of the other movies we'll get into eventually.
Yeah, and we have a lot of movies planned. So
Oh,
let's
yes, we do.
let's talk about them for a minute, because when we first
Yeah,
wanted
why
to
not?
do this series, we wanted to start off with the tried and true Speed Racer from 2008,
Yes.
And the funny thing is that when we got done watching the movie and we all decided to do this, Speed Racer actually became relevant on like Twitter and stuff like that, like saying how much
Completely by accident.
yeah, completely by accident.
We did not
like,
plan this.
Now,
Yeah.
was this after we watched the movie?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
this
was.
is like way after.
I remember
like,
you sent me a DM like a
Yeah,
day
and
or
I'll
two
even-
after.
Yeah, and I'll even put it on screen here so that way we could actually like prove our point here.
That's interesting.
But yeah, like after we agreed to actually like do this as a recording, the next day I saw like a couple of articles saying Speed Racer this, Speed Racer that, and on Twitter. That and Scott Pilgrim, both of them being movies that failed at the box office, but
Became beloved.
yeah, that became like extremely beloved.
And I think we'll do Scott Pilgrim eventually.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, but like we originally had Speed Racer planned to do our first episode, but we decided to go with Power Rangers because we had it on us.
Yeah.
And then after we get done with Speed Racer, we're gonna do Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
Hell yeah.
And then we are going to do, like we mentioned, probably TMNT 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, probably Scott Pilgrim.
I guess.
Let's put Ben 10 somewhere in there.
That would be good.
We could probably put Ben 10 as like a bonus episode because, like we mentioned, we could probably do these like bi-monthly,
Probably.
depending on our schedules and everything.
Yeah.
And depending on if the internet loves us.
Yeah, hopefully. Because if not, we'll make like a completely second channel for this.
Yeah, and we'll probably just make them whenever we want.
Yeah, and plus I think we could probably do them over Discord because we're actually doing this. We're literally doing this at a kitchen table right now.
I think it's dining room, actually.
Still. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching our first episode and hearing our thoughts on Adaptation Impossible. I am GhostGreen90. This has been...
Wave Wingman, and MMPR is overrated.
And this has been Joe Huggies, and thank you for getting a chance to listen to us.
And like we said, next time we'll cover Speed Racer.
Awesome. See ya.
Later.